Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Toria.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic. So, we have a guest tonight.
Man, we've had a lot of cool guests lately.
Yeah, we have. And, that's kind of by design. But tonight we have a mental health advocate by the name of Allison. And she's here just to talk to us about the good and maybe the bad about social media. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. So yes, I am a mental health advocate, which basically means I talk about mental health a lot and you can't get me to shut up about it. By day, I'm a digital marketer. By night, or a little later in the day, really, I also have a podcast. And so I do digital marketing. I do social media through my work. And then I also do mental health advocacy and a podcast and life coaching and all the things because, there aren't enough things to do in a day. I find more things.
If there's a free hour, you've got to fill it.
Your podcast is Allison in Wonderland, right?
It is Allison in Wonderland. That domain was the one that was available.
I kind of like it.
I know, but now there's like lots of things about looking through the looking glass of mental health and falling down the rabbit hole, and it just happens all the time now.
Well, what got you started in mental health advocacy?
Yeah, so in 2007, I lost my brother as a result of suicide. And then in 2010, I lost my mother also as a result of suicide. So really, when my brother died, I had no idea like which way was up. And the only way for me to cope was to learn as much as possible. So I, went to the interwebs and I started finding things about suicide, I found the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I went through multiple therapists until I found one that I liked. And I then went and pursued 2 degrees in psychology. And while I still work in digital marketing, just because I wanted to know more. And I think it's really just that I talk about it so much that is a way of reducing stigma. Because if I can sit and own my crazy and let everybody know, about mine, then maybe they'll feel more comfortable, realizing that, yeah, mental health is okay to talk about. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be like, I need a mental health day. Peace out, guys. Gonna go watch TV.
Wouldn't it be great if more like businesses and workplaces wouldn't have a cow that you need a mental health day?
I think technically it counts as sick time these days.
I used to work for a company when I still lived in Canada, and I took a mental health day, and my supervisor found out, and she's like, "Well, you're not getting paid for that." I was like, "Try me. I called in sick. Try me."
Well, and even then, like, prove I didn't have a headache. I have a headache every single day of my life, so
right?
Really, like, so like, prove it.
Yeah. Sick day should really just be for I need a day. You don't need to know what's going on. I need a day.
Yeah, or you can explain something extremely personal that then they're like, really, really, really too much information. And then they'll never ask again.
Yeah.
Food poisoning usually does the trick.
That's why a lot of businesses have gone to just giving you PTO. Then they just lump all the days together, your vacation time, your sick time, Any special timed off, you just lump it all together, and then you get to use it how you want to use it, and you don't have to explain it. And as long as um, you follow the rules for the approval, they give it to you, right? So I think that's one way that they're trying to address the um, stigma of, if you want to take that mental health day, you don't have to say what it's for, and you don't have to be dishonest either. So
Right. And really, I mean, you'd have to train people, every manager into very high level marketing or HR things as to whether, they were allowed to ask or ask more questions or follow up if they say something. So, I mean, you don't want your manager to accidentally get the whole company in trouble. Because they're like, whoa, are you pregnant? No, dude, I just gained some weight.
so
It's a big old whoopsie.
what do you think is the role of social media in mental health in today's society? Like, is it a positive influence or a negative influence, or is it both so it cancels out? I mean, what do you think?
I think it's both. And I think it's very much like, if you hand a monkey a gun, what's going to happen? So, you know, y- some people are able to use social media in a responsible way and help people and communicate information. And then other people use it as an extension of bullying, as an extension of harassment, as an extension of stalking and things like that. And
Mm.
so it's really like which which monkey are you handing the gun to? And the one that's gonna delicately put it in the safe, or the one that's going to run around, crazy with it. So, um, we've, I know I didn't grow up with social media, and dear God, if I had and all that stuff was online, I would probably never be able to get a job these days. Like if my childhood and my teen years were on social media.
Right?
I know it's really bad. It's really, there's not even, like photo evidence of the things that I got into. Um, but it's one of those things where there have been times where it's been really great. I mean, I stay connected to people that I would have never been connected to before. Working remotely is great because I don't have to drive, I don't have to live specific to a location, and I get to work remotely. But then we have people that use those as their only tools. So if social media is your only tool for information and your only tool for communication, um, and your only tool for getting your rant out, then you're probably the troll and no one should feed you. So it's definitely one of those things where you can throw, what is it? Like water on a gas fire or something like that. It's like I don't even like it's either used really responsibly or really terribly, and I've never seen an in between.
Yeah,
There's not the person that does it one way or the other.
I'm totally with
I
you.
would
There's
agree.
that person who uses it to stay in touch with grandma and send them pictures of the grandkids. And then there's that person who just wants to like vomit their life all over it and their political hate, whatever side they live on. And like there's
And,
some people are
and
just crazy.
yeah, so like, and politics aside, I unfriend people because I get sick of hearing them during football season. I'm like, everybody's getting muted during football season because I don't care. I'm from the South, it's SEC country, and as soon as football season hits, I mute everybody because I don't want to hear it. It's just too much.
Strangely enough,
Yeah.
There's a Canadian football league too that nobody really knows exists because it's
Is
stupid.
it football or is it soccer?
It's football, but it's different than American football. But they,
Oh,
they use they
okay.
use a football, not a soccer ball. Um, but
It's very similar.
nobody cares about it until playoffs, and then it's all they talk about. I do the same thing as you. I meet them all.
I know it's terrible. It's like I really don't care what team wins. I just want y'all to stop telling me about it.
Then I forget to
But then
unmute them.
also the very heated discussions that people even get in about that. You know, I've got family that are Tennessee fans making fun of Alabama with all my family that are Alabama fans, and then they just get into these crazy, awful battles online over their football teams.
Well, yeah, and that's what's funny is real sports fans do tend to go. I'm just gonna say it. They go crazy. That it's it almost gets to the point where it's the first person. I did this, and I lost the game, or I won the game. You didn't play the game, but for some reason they have this insane connection to the game, and it gets into people's face.
I always think that, and then I go back to the fact that I like cosplay and conventions, and I'm like, I guess I fan out
That's your
about
thing.
those things the way other people, you know, fan out about their sports. And then there are pictures of me all dressed up, for an Alabama football game, and somebody was like, saw it online and was like, "You said you don't care about football," and I was like, "That was my football game cosplay. I like dressing for the occasion, and that was what I wore."
That's great.
But do you think that social media perhaps maybe could be giving people this ability to kind of create a life that doesn't really exist, to like put on for other people?
It absolutely gives people this boldness to say things and do things that they would never say or do if they were in a room with those people. They're safe behind their screen, and things that it's like their filter they use when they type things online is just completely gone. Where like if they were sitting next to, you know, their cousin over there who was talking about, abortion rights, they probably wouldn't say something in front of the whole family at family dinner. But instead, they are going to go, reply on their post and get super hostile. And I say this because I had a cousin, and then other family members all get into it over abortion rights. And it was just like the craziest thing where I was trying to picture all of these people at a family dinner, knowing that none of them would get into these things at a family dinner. It was just crazy.
Yep.
That is.
I've seen these
We
same
we
arguments.
thankfully, but thankfully we don't get into too many of those around here, do we?
Mm-mm. I actually saw a woman who had posted like a video of her making dinner for her family, and the food it looked great. I mean, thank you for posting, lady. I might make that sometime. And somebody got on the comments and was telling her how she's a child abuser because she didn't rinse the chicken before she put it in the crock pot.
Yes, because salmonella can live through that high temperature of the crock pot.
Who knew
If
that
you
it was so
use it,
divisive?
if you cook it for 8 hours in a crock pot, no more
It's
salmonella.
dead.
Let me tell you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's dead.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's the craziest things. I remember I saw something recently where someone was just sharing something about the point was supposed to be like be nice on the internet was the meme, but then their rant was about how terrible people are on the internet, and I almost commented on it, and then I stopped myself and I hopped into Canva and I made a sweet little like be nice with a rainbow and put that. I was like, okay guys, just be nice. It's like I'm not even gonna so instead of replying, I just went and just put some like happy vibes. Hopefully that would cancel out that, crazy rant of hostility. And I don't know if it's part of people really wanting to go viral, or if it is them just feeling emboldened to say things that they wouldn't normally say, that they would normally just kind of keep to themselves. But what they don't, I mean, they have public profiles, they're using their picture and their name, but
Yeah,
they feel so much more comfortable. And it's great that people feel like they have a place to have a voice, but sometimes
but why
some
is that
things
what you're
just don't need
choosing
to be
to do?
yes, it's like sometimes, slow down. And I think it's like we were told as we, grew up to think before we speak. And no one's telling people to think before they hit send or type or respond. Think before you do those things, just like you would think before you speak.
It's funny when
Well, and like,
we're commenting on something on social media and it might be taken the wrong way. I always send it to him and be like, "Can you nice this up?" Like I just can't. And he does the same thing with me.
It's funny because I've been in marketing for 20 years, and I'll work with these teams and there'll be, a lot of chaos. I've been working from home since before it was cool because digital marketing, and I would have never 20 years ago in my career thought add emojis to your emails, but that is something I train people to do now because people don't understand your tone.
It makes you sound
So
so much
thank
less
you so
rage filled.
much. Yeah, so it's like, "Thank you so much, you're a rock star," and then, like, 15 emojis. I'm like because, like, otherwise they're gonna read it as, you know, please fix this thing for me because you're garbage. It's like, what?
They they read the tone of the mood they're in at that time that they're reading it. It's literally what happens. And the emojis, and I've actually tested this, so you're absolutely 100% right. When you put those emojis in there, for whatever reason, mentally they respond to it. I even know that, like, you know how you, like, on LinkedIn you can say, like, oh, it's so and so's birthday, say happy birthday, and it'll just send them a happy birthday message. Well, I tested, and I sent like a certain number of people that, and then I sent a certain number of people a modified version of that where I added something like, make it an amazing day or something like that. When I added something, people responded. When I didn't add something, I never got a response. So I think it's about being positive. There's something about that attracts people back to you.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like social media can be good, but it's like, you have to use your powers for good. With great power comes great responsibility. And now everyone in the world has this great power, and no one is being responsible.
But there's
But I mean,
so
there's
much
definitely.
potential.
Right. And the thing is there's such a place for it because I get to connect with people that I never would connect with otherwise because of social media. I get to, be a mental health advocate and not just talk to the, 500 people that live in the city that I live in. So I mean it's a big deal being able to do that, but I also try very hard to make sure that I behave online because it's really, you don't know what's going to go viral, and you also don't know where someone else is that day. I mean, you jump on.
Yeah, good point.
I was talking to an author of a book called Our Digital Soul, and it talks very much about the way that we have like an extension of our soul that's our digital presence and our digital personality and our digital soul. And so it's very much like, because you've got that arm's distance from all of these things, it's like a split personality in a lot of cases. Just a really, I don't know, it's just kind of a really neat way in my mind. But, you know, you can also bully people. And I mean, I remember getting that first AOL disc and hopping in a chat room and being like, I'm a 14-year-old girl in Alabama. And then, like, there's like 15, personal messages. And I'm sure they weren't all 15-year-old boys in Alabama.
Right.
And then they introduced picture messaging.
Oh my God. This
And
was way before that.
Yeah. And you can no longer admit you were female on the internet. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, do you have any, like, strategies or tips that people can use on social media so as to protect their own mental health?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like if you ever get to a point to where you have to continuously refresh to see someone's response, it's time to turn it off. And what I think people don't realize is that you can uninstall an app and install it back later. So if I'm getting to where something's made me very upset on Facebook, I will take the app off my phone until I'm not upset about it anymore, and I'll reinstall it, and look, all my stuff's still there. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that you can do that. And I've done the same method for, like, when I'm at work. I have a Slack channel. But if I want to go on a vacation and I don't want to work, I will delete the Slack channel from my phone for the week I'm on vacation. So, like, it's sometimes just step away. Like, if you were in the middle of a bar and there was a bar fight and you weren't like on either side, leave. Like,
You're,
leave the bar.
you're not going to
Be
stand
like,
there with
peace
your
out.
face pressed up against you, like, ooh.
Right. Or sit there and record it on your camera while people are getting hit over the head with bottles. I don't understand. So, and then as far as, like, it's okay to have a voice and it's okay to engage online, but one, fact checked before you say anything. It is so funny to me when people get on these huge rants and whatever they say is like the dumbest, wrongest thing ever. And it's like if you're going to respond and you're going to get into a debate, please at least do it in an intelligent way and then do it calmly. I think that this can be said for everything, but since so much is online now, trying to look at everything from both points of, view. So like our nation is divided like 50-50 on everything. But you can't tell me that like nobody can kind of see the common ground on anything, but a lot of people just refuse to. So you know, be, try to be empathetic in everything that you do. And if something does, I will type things out and then I will erase them and go back the next day and read it again if I feel like maybe I'm getting a little too Sicilian on them.
I like how you phrased that. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because Tori and I both have stories about how social media AI is used to try to combat those kind of messages, but how it really goes comically wrong. Like, you tell yours first and then I'll tell mine.
Somebody I work with, and I've worked with her for 4 or 5 years, she's from the Philippines. And in November, she was here. And she posted that she was in the airport in New York, getting on her plane to Las Vegas. And I commented, "Great, I'm going to come and kidnap you at the airport. I have a strike. I have a strike because of this."
Yeah.
That is so great. That is something I would say too.
Don't do it. Not on Facebook. They don't even let you win the appeal.
Then on Twitter, I made a comment. This person never shuts up about Trump. I'm so tired of hearing about Trump. He's, as far as I'm concerned, he's dead and buried. Like,
I know,
away,
like,
right?
no matter what side you're on, just shut up about it already.
Right, and that's what I said. I said, I don't care what side you're on of this issue. Can you just let it die? I got, next time I went to my account, I was locked until I deleted that tweet because they said I was threatening harm to somebody. Just,
Oh my
it saw the word
gosh.
die in it.
We gotta love those algorithms, right? So what if you came on there and you're like, my mom died, and then they're gonna block you because the word
Right.
was on there, or sorry guys, I've got a week to live. Like I mean, like you can't. This is the problem with only using algorithms and AI for
Mhm.
things and not having some kind of a human appeal in the process. And that's also kind of when you think about social media, all of our content is starting to be generated by AI. So then what happens? When Skynet takes over and they're the ones that are creating, they're like, look at this chaos. We're going to take over the world just by creating social media, wars. We don't have to send machines back in time. We're just going to trick y'all all into fighting online and then that you'll just destroy each other.
You telling us that
Sorry,
the AI is doing this for their entertainment?
yeah.
Perfect.
Can y'all tell I'm a nerd? I'm just like
I love
one
every
reference
minute of
after
it.
another. Yeah, so I mean it's definitely don't feed the trolls, and now it's like don't feed the AI, because one, you're going to get flagged, and two, what are they going to say, or how is that content going to be repurposed when someone else is like, oh, generate content about this subject, and it's pulling from all the content online and it creates some chaos. No.
Exactly, because there's no way of knowing where the original came from.
Right.
But that's interesting. I think I do think that AI used responsibly is okay, but didn't we just say that social media used responsibly is okay and most people don't really use it responsibly? So that's what I have a fear with
Well,
AI,
let's
is
think
that
about
people
it.
won't use it responsibly.
Is there anything in this world that is not okay if used most things in the world are fine if you use them responsibly, right?
Well, yeah, I would
Like
100% agree with
right, so like I could have pain pills, and if I use them responsibly, they're okay. So like it's really, you know, maybe there needs to be some kind of education for people as they grow up into this world, where think about, when I was in 3rd grade, we learned how to write out an envelope. Somebody from the post office came to my 3rd grade class. They taught us how to fill out an envelope. My kids were never taught that in school. But maybe in that same, moment, part of health and science when kids are going through all of that, part of that is also about your social media health, about the way you interact on social media, the way treat people, the way you take what people say. So if it's going to be this huge part of our lives, and it's the way that we communicate, and they're not teaching them how to write letters. I know that because I have seen kids struggle. Adults, I have seen 20-year-olds struggle with how to fill out an envelope and what goes where.
Yep.
So then maybe that just becomes part of it, and it's a social
It's hard, man.
science part of health class.
Yeah, it's kind of a you kind of seem like you advocate a back to the basics kind of approach, and I agree with that because I think when you're at the basics, it kind of takes all the political ideology out of it. It takes all the biases out of it. You're just back to the basic thing, you know.
They need a
And that
class.
makes it more, yeah.
They need a class. How to not be a douchebag when you become an adult.
Or when
Well, yeah. I mean,
even before
bring it
then.
from yeah.
I guess.
It right.
Non-douchebaggery 101.
Yeah. And then they can have 201 for the people who really need it.
That should be a junior high class,
It really should, absolutely. And then anyone that's in a fraternity in college has to take like 3 of them.
You know, that's so funny. There's something that happens to kids when they leave 6th grade and they go into like 7th and 8th grade.
It's called puberty.
Well, and it makes them go crazy. Like they do stupid stuff, and I don't know. It's kind of funny that they act that way. And then you're right. College kids who get into like fraternities, they're back to like that again, like that same behavior. It's really strange.
It's that
how
pack
humans are.
mentality.
Yeah.
When they're part of a pack, they get a little more vicious. But, I was raised that you don't talk about religion or politics. Which is why when I see those same people that are older people in my family arguing about religion and politics on social media, I'm like, we would never talk about this at family dinner. So it's definitely that arm's length. But then think about the people that weren't raised, don't talk about religion and politics. And you can talk
Yeah.
about those things. I'm not saying, hey, don't ever talk. I was told not to talk about them, but that was
Yeah.
just how I was raised. And talk about them and learn from each other, but do it nicely. And I don't know that the kids were ever these days were ever told don't hop on there. They're like, hey, go look on part of your history paper, go see what people are saying about the election right now on Facebook. And that's
Don't do it. It's
Don't do it.
dangerous.
Yeah. The best thing you can do during an election is not pay attention to anything going up to the election, and then on the day before election day, go do all of your independent research from sites that are owned by different people. That's what I do.
And sites that don't allow comments.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Do your own independent research the day before election day, and don't talk to anyone else before it.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's how
kinda
you don't
smart.
get election fatigue.
That seems totally reasonable. So, where can our listeners find you? I'm sure they're going to die to find you.
Yes. So I do have a new podcast that launched in January. It is Allison in Wonderland. Allison, like my name, Allison. So AllisonInWonderland.com. I am on all of the podcast channels. I kind of have a YouTube. There, half of the amount of the episodes are up there because it just takes me longer. But they are all on video. And I'm on all of the social media channels. I even added myself to TikTok because when I started my podcast, my 19-year-old was like, Mom, you have to have a TikTok. So I've got one, and I might add reels. Sorry, guys. It goes through a system. I'm not like responding to anything or following people.
That's how I feel about TikTok. I feel every vibe you just gave. All of them. At
Yes.
once.
Yes. It was like I was told I had to do it. So when I make reels for Instagram, I download them and go put them on TikTok. And that is what I've done.
That's
Yeah.
funny. That's exactly what I was doing too.
Mhm.
And it's just because same reason. Someone told me I had to, so I did. And it's funny how you just go, "Oh, I have to," and then for whatever reason you give in and you go, "All right, fine, I'll do it."
Yeah, and the algorithms on TikTok don't understand me yet, so they show me all kinds of crazy stuff. But the algorithms on Instagram show me mental health posts and cat videos, and that's all it shows me.
That's glorious.
I know it's amazing.
I get puppies and quotes from word porn. Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's great. It's good stuff.
And I get a lot of puppy dogs.
Yeah.
A lot of puppy dogs.
Y'all have 4 cats. Why are y'all only getting puppy pictures?
Oh, we also have 2 dogs
I
and a bearded
get lots
dragon.
of cat photos too, but I get lots of puppy dog pictures.
Yeah.
I get the little tiny kitten, like newborn kitten photos, where they're just like super fluffy. They're the cutest little things. I just shake my head and it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's why I have 5 of them. Because they're adorable.
Now I'm going to have to go chase one of our cats down the hallway because he's got his feet under the door.
Oh, mine are doing the same thing. I closed the door to my office and there are tuxedo cat feet from Bender. Yeah, the runt of the litter, Bender, has got like his little tuxedo paws under the door. It's adorable.
Mine's from our pure black one.
And I have the dog asleep under the desk. She's passed out.
Yeah, I have 2 solid black ones as well that also usually are in here, but I closed the door. I feel like we just kind of we're way off. We're like, okay, now we're talking about pets.
But no, that's okay. We can make that work.
It's the good part of the internet.
Right.
The black cat thing, Toria told me, people don't like black cats. People just don't like. We adopted one. He's the sweetest, most loving cat. And yeah, he has his moments, but he's the sweetest, most loving cat. And so it's nice to hear that you have, 2 black cats.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
they're twins, and then the 3 younger ones are all from the same litter as well. And so the 2 black cats, I always wanted a black cat named Moonshadow after the Cat Stevens song. And then we named the other one Nibbler, and then when we got the next 3, we also named them after Futurama characters. So we have Kiff, Bender, and Scruffy. And they all act just like their namesakes. It's amazing.
Nibbler's such a perfect name for a black cat.
Oh my gosh, it's perfect. Yeah.
All right, well, I guess we should wrap it up. So
yeah, I mean it's been great having you, but the dog's asleep, the cats are asleep, so it's probably time to go. Good night, everyone.
Night. Thanks for having me.
Hasta bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.